going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought. We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort. And China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
Because people forget, the Fed was created in 1913 not to help us, the little people. It was to make the bankers super rich. And every time the bankers get in trouble, what happens?
They run to daddy.
They run to daddy. And
No,
the Fed
just
and the central bank. And remember, I love this, right? What is on the Genesis block? A Bitcoin. The chancellor bails out the banks for the second time. Of course, because it's not a coincidence that the birthday of Bitcoin is in the middle of the global financial crisis. It is not a coincidence that Satoshi Nakamoto's birthday is 4/5/75. 4/5 was the day that gold was made illegal. 75 was the day it was made legal again. So from 1933 to 75 it was illegal to own gold in the United States. So those are not, coincidences. This is all about financial sovereignty and getting away from, as Thiel called it, the gerontocracy, the boomerism. And look, entitlements is the problem. An entitlement is a promise you make to yourself that you don't fund and you ask your kids to pay for it. And we, the boomers, love that.
Did it for a while.
Yeah, and look, it makes perfect sense. If I could say, I'm going to get Social Security and Medicare for free because my kids are going to pay for it, I would do that. But here's the problem. When they were set up 80, 90 years ago, there were 17 workers for every retiree. When I get to retirement age, there'll only be 2. And I used to have 2 kids, so they were at a choice. My wife wins, I lose, so I was going to have another kid, which I did. So anyway.
Welcome to the Cryptoteacher. And guys, I come back with that video just to make you think. And this is Mark Yusko telling the truth. But we know, guys, not the whole truth. We know he manages billions and billions of dollars. And he has the nerve to say us versus them. We know these fund managers only tell us half the truth. Yes, they speak the truth, but we know it's nothing but the Hegelian dialectic. He doesn't talk about the fourth industrial revolution. He doesn't talk about the robots, algorithms, and drones that take over this economy. The big corporations and big banks and the central banks have been funding crypto from the beginning. It's not like we can't see the funding rounds, guys. We know Bitcoin and crypto gives the NWO even more power. Blockchain gives the NWO the all-seeing eye. Satoshi Nakamoto means central intelligence. Crypto means hidden message, hidden meaning. Because these cryptos are for the robots, algorithms, and drones, while the sheep go inside the metaverse. And remember, the crypto teacher told you because he knows. When it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Rates, then they won't do it anymore. There's only a certain limit they can go. Yeah. What do you think the Fed's role has played in kind of taking the steam out of the
I'm wearing it.
we'll print
keep
more.
calm, we'll print more.
Yeah.
And look, it's a very insightful question and an even more insightful point. That the insightful question is, what role did this monetary stimulus post the lockdowns have? Now, if you think about it, 50% of all the dollars in the history of the Republic, we're talking 256 years, was created in 2 years. So it shouldn't have surprised anyone that the value of Bitcoin would rise 50% over that period, right? Shouldn't have been a surprise to anyone. Now, the challenge, though, is that it moved beyond that because of the speculators and the leverage. And so as that stimulus started to be withdrawn, not reversed, but the rate of change of the money supply growth started to shrink. And to your point about now the Fed says, oh, we're going to get serious on inflation. No, there is no inflation. There's only currency devaluation. And people say, what's the difference? In fact, Greg Foss and I love Greg, actually differ on this. He's like, well, no, they're the same thing. Like, no. Inflation, demand pull, right? There's more demand than supply, or there's a restricted supply of a good or service. This is not that, right? This is not like the 70s where there's lots of growth because the boomers are spending. This is currency devaluation. 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. Bitcoin didn't get better. It didn't grow. It didn't become more efficient. Fundamentally, it grew a little bit, but what happened was the dollar that we value it in went down. And that's what people miss sometimes, is that we always talk about Bitcoin in our local currency. Like in Venezuela, there's never been a bear market in Bitcoin price, right? Because the Bolivar just got trashed. Or in Turkey, in the lira, or in the ruble, just made new all-time highs in ruble. So when we talk about it in dollars, what we have to step back is, I said, the more insightful point that you made is the Fed says, well, we're going to tame inflation. No, you're not. You can't change the devaluation that you already did by suddenly raising interest rates by 25 or 50 basis points. You can't do it. You can't do it. And so what's going to happen is that inflation number is going to go down. Why? Well, because most of the increase in the CPI was oil prices, which trebled, okay, over about a year period, and used car prices because of the chip shortage. Both of those things. Used car prices are down 3 months in a row. They're going to continue to fall as new cars start to be created again. And oil prices aren't going to double again from here. In fact, I will argue, right before the election, we're going to cut a deal with Saudi, or magically we'll release the SPR, because there is a perfect inverse correlation between presidential popularity and gasoline prices. If gas prices are $4 at the election, these guys get crushed. If gasoline prices are $2.50, they got a chance. I still think they get crushed because they're just horrible. And that's not a political comment. The policies right now are just horrible. Absolutely.
Most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York. From COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.